How much did that cost? A phrase, a seemingly innocuous question, one that I have great difficulty uttering. Why do those words cause me to bristle over most of my lifetime? I grew up in a family where there was a lot of tension about money. That's my sister laughing. How much was needed, how it was spent, how much things cost, what was actually necessary to even have. My experience growing up in a family was certainly a loving and supportive one, but the tension over money was a constant overlay. An overlay that I came to understand and observe more closely as I matured and began paying closer attention to the undertones of communication between my parents. When you're a child, you only know your own family experience. In my family, the division of labor called for my father to generate the income. Therefore, much of his time was focused on attending to his patients. On the other hand, my mother's work was in the home, preparing and serving meals, sometimes making clothes for herself and my sisters, and maintaining the household, and sometimes handling major maintenance projects, such as refinishing the woodwork, which would have the doors all off their hinges and laid across sawhorses in the garage so that 3 to 4 coats of polyurethane could be applied, with sanding done in between the coats. It should come as no surprise that this would be a periodic project that could take weeks to complete. It was how we did things in my family. And from this, I learned a lot of useful skills and developed a sense of what projects I might take on for myself and thereby become self-sufficient. But the cost sensitivity overlay was constant. The door refinishing had an important economic thrift component. Refinishing the woodwork ourselves meant saving the money that would otherwise be spent on hiring a painter. Yard work was done by my father. Many auto maintenance tasks were performed by my father. Again, here I learned how to perform certain auto maintenance tasks myself, such as changing the oil, rotating tires, even replacing spark plugs. Does anyone remember those? These knowledge and skills can be transportable into other settings, as my colleague Kyle can attest when he developed a flat tire while leaving work one day. So I don't discount the value of learned skills, but the lessons therein were always draped in the lessons of economic thrift and the importance of independence. I was told you won't have to call AAA to get somebody to change a tire or recharge the battery. There was also a sense of being more time efficient when you could do something yourself that could be done according to your personal convenience instead of according to someone else's time schedule. These are all useful perspectives to keep in mind. But back to those words that still cause me to bristle. How much did that cost? Whenever my mother bought anything new, be it an article of clothing or something decorative for the dining room table, my father was quick to notice. And the first words out of his mouth were, "How much did that cost?" Not, "Gee, that looks nice," or "That's a nice color," or "That's an interesting design," but how much did that cost? I came to notice that my mother would bristle at this familiar interrogative that would occur whenever something new entered our family hologram. And as I detected her bristle, I internalized it. Internalized it so much that I cannot bring myself to ask that question, even to this day. I could not even ask a friend as recently as 10 years ago about the cost of an interesting kitchen appliance, the price of which I just figured out yesterday with Kyle's help. It was a dehydrator that costs $199 from somewhere. But why am I going into this personal part of my life story? I've been reflecting on what attracted me to the service offering that we provide. At a most elementary level, as a child, I concluded that family friction could be lowered by having more money. Therefore, how to make money through the use of financial markets became a growing preoccupation. This began as a pre-teenager during a family trip to Europe in the days before the euro common currency. Over a month that we were traveling from country to country by car, and I just remember this morning that there were 5 of us in a Volkswagen Beetle, and so the 2 adults in the front seats, my sister Susan and I in the back seat, and if anyone remembers those cars, there was something behind the back seat where my sister Janet was parked. How she did it, I don't know, but she lived through it. But as we went from country to country, I began paying attention to the different exchange rates among the many foreign currencies that were in use at that time. And I observed that there could be a sequential advantage obtained by purchasing first one currency, say pound sterling, and into Deutschmarks, and then Deutschmarks into French francs. Whereas going directly from pound sterling into French francs netted fewer francs than the first path. After a few days of noticing these mathematical relationships, I pointed out my revelation to my father, and he said, "That's called arbitrage." At that time, lacking the funds needed to conduct meaningful currency trading activities, I could only envision the hypothetical scenarios in which one might opportunistically capitalize on these momentary mispricings and generate profits. But my curiosity and intrigue grew. Awareness of stock market activity followed, along with noting the interest rates available from various money market instruments. All of this motivated from my very naive child's perspective that more money could mean less friction in a family system. Well, guess what? I also came to realize that nobody has enough money. There is always a need for more. And as I matured further, I began to reflect on the symbolism of money. Money makes the world go round. Anybody see Cabaret? Okay. So you remember this great song? And so I want to call our attention to the associations that we can make with money, both positive and negative. I care about you this much. I can do what I please. How can I ever dig myself out of this financial hole? I have more money than you. I will not support this frivolous use of my hard-earned dollars. I see some nods. My life experience, and I am only sharing a portion of that today, has attuned me to the tensions around money that exist among us all, to varying extents. My 20 years employed in corporate finance at Duke University also attuned me to how money can be made through use of the financial markets and applying consistent investment techniques to grow capital. Addressing those needs inspired me to start this business in April of 1993, almost exactly 33 years ago today. Along the way, I have had some different partners in this enterprise, and those partnerships had to end when differing goals for the business became apparent. And these experiences motivated me to proactively develop a written vision statement. A vision statement which articulates a clear insight to our vision, our process, our philosophy, and the purpose and continuing quest of Kuhn Advisors. This statement is also clear about our wish to remain independent and not wanting to become part of a conglomerate of similar-sized firms likely being groomed for sale to an even larger entity. I will share with you some of our core investment principles that take us down our chosen path. We refer to these principles as the shibboleths, a term that's used to describe a set of customs that are observed by a group of people. In the village of investors, we characterize ourselves as value investors. Therefore, these are customs typical of many value investors. Valuations matter. You'll hear us say that often. Therefore, earnings matter. Avoid the crowded trade. This is one of my favorites. It's definitely investment lingo, but it means don't be feeling like you have to do what everybody else is doing. In fact, maybe you want to be doing the exact opposite. Diversification helps. Concentrated bets can boost performance. And this one, number 6, may be obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. You will never outperform the S&P 500 by investing in the S&P 500. But now let's go beyond portfolio management and let me introduce you to a core element of our vision statement, and that's the distant relative. For some clients, we function as a distant relative, defined as someone who provides an objective source of experience with and expertise in dealing with complicated family dynamics. In most families, from time to time, certain tensions can arise. Different perspectives, moments of insecurity, misunderstandings, the natural complexities that come with people being close to one another. Add family wealth or wealth insecurity to the mix, and sometimes it can seem as if a toxic cocktail is fermenting. These are situations with which we have experience about what works and what may not. And we can offer our insight about how to frame sensitive conversations that may need to happen among family members. And it is better if these conversations can happen among the living, to forestall the creation of made-up narratives that might result following a death. Sometimes in such engagements, we seek legal advice in order to gain comfort that our clients are on solid ground with a decision set and a pathway that has been proposed. Now let's talk about our orchestra. It takes a team of qualified investment professionals to serve the number of clients that we do. Recruiting talent is somewhat like filling out the seats of an orchestra. We play a certain type of music, we need certain instrumentation, and we need people who can play in tune and will follow a director's lead. We also value intellect, aptitude, creativity, and innovative thinking. We are effectively asking, are you capable of struggling over a multivariate situation that might feel impossible to deliver a satisfying outcome? Sometimes our work can feel like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. And I often tell candidates, we want to be your experience. We want to orient you to our worldview, the lenses through which we regard the investment universe. Now, I have detected in the voices of some, when asked, what happens should Mark no longer be here? And some of you in this room have asked them. Sometimes such questions make me worry that there is a bus out there that has my name on the front of it. So I don't want to leave this subject unaddressed, so I will recite a bit of a script based on a recent client meeting during which I was asked some questions in rapid fire sequence. How old are you? 75. How is your health? Excellent. I religiously have annual physicals. After a few more questions, this interrogative concluded with the client stating that she wanted me to be around longer than she and her spouse. This is not a segue to telling you that I am out of here. Far from it. I continue to love this work and the manner in which it requires me to deliver in a variety of circumstances. I want to see how things turn out, and that I find deep meaning and fulfillment in assessing your individual needs and investments. More than ever, I'm refining our ethos and delivering to you the most effective investment management strategies possible, a strategy that has been proven successful for well over 3 decades. Furthermore, after a variety of professional relationships, I now find myself in the privileged position of working alongside the current team that genuinely understands our ethos and effortlessly supports the continued evolution of our vision. I've built this firm around a strong sense of family within the team because that's what allows us to truly show up as your distant relative. Many of the people here have worked alongside me for many years, and that continuity is at the heart of how we support our clients.